It looks like,
Oh, you would not believe the maze. I was just so shocked because it's so complicated.
I heard the woman, the recording say the meeting's now in progress.
Oh, okay. Is Al on?
Yes.
Hi, Al.
Hey guys, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Sure.
Okay.
So we can call the meeting to order. I'm looking at the clock up there at 7:01. My phone says 7:00 something. Nope, it says 6:59. So we can call to order. I gotta find my reading glasses.
An introduction.
Oh, good. We have the complete.
Okay. We have two new members have come on board. Would you like to introduce yourselves for our public?
The speaker dot's really helpful.
How you doing, everyone? I'm Nick Stevens. I live in town in Kensington, and I work for the Greater New Haven WPCA. I've been in consulting and now on the utility management side for over 10 years now. So I'm excited to be part of the group and bring maybe some new perspectives and some resources to the town that I'm enjoying so much so far. I'm here 2 years now.
All right, welcome.
And my name is Dave Darrow. I've lived on Church Street, hometown, for I would say 32 years. I've been retired for 20-something years, and I've always wanted to get involved in something. So here I am. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
He's a little bit modest, but he does have a financial background, which is also nice to know and helpful. So.
Yeah, that does come in handy. All right. Next, we have an agenda, audience of citizens. We don't have any at this moment in time, so we'll dispense with that. Approval of minutes, April 23rd.
So forward.
Hmm?
Approve.
Moving it.
Liam's made a motion.
Liam made the motion to approve them.
Second.
Yes, second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Very mind. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, Al.
I'm gonna technically have Al second it because you
He
two were
wasn't
not
there.
on it. Yeah, I mean,
Well, it
you
was
were
either
here,
Liam
but-
and me or Liam and me.
Yeah, that's the last one is when I had trouble getting on Zoom, so I was not able to participate. Remember?
Yeah.
So,
were-
are you abstaining then? No.
No,
No, I mean I can second it, but can I second it? I wasn't there.
No, you
Bruce,
can't.
Bruce is gonna do it.
Bruce.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, new business. Welcome to commissioners. As we have to introduce, I welcome on board. And I hope you have a good time and help us out because we're short on members. And speaking of, we have one of our members is not doing good, and I hope he's pray for him. All right. Athabasca District
You might
correspondent.
want to mention it's Tom Lasker.
Oh, Tom Lasker. I forgot to put the name into the mix. Athabasca District Commissioner.
Okay, 4.2, Mattabesset District
Correspondence.
correspondence, excessive flows. We've gotten several letters from the district chair, executive director, which is Art Simonian. Basically, there are numerous occasions where excessive flows took place. He sent me 3 letters that were dated May 8th, 9th, and 10th together collectively. But they represented the different months. I think it was December, January, and February that we had, March, that we had excessive flows going in through their facility. Their total for the year, last year, 2023, is 2.19 billion gallons, apparently. This has grown substantially because when I first started that, it was like 1.2. So it's been almost an extra billion gallons that have occurred through the excessive flows, which would be the I&I, inflow and infiltration. And we'll talk
What
about
is
the details.
excessive flow?
Well, we are supposed to have a limit as to the number of the billion gallons we can send to Mattabesset through agreement. Technically, it's at 5.5, but we've exceeded that many times. And recently, the Berlin pump station, which is located off, it's our largest pump station, located off the Berlin Turnpike there where that development's taking place, the Daddy-O's development. I don't know if anybody saw it. There's a gas
Blue
station.
Lobster.
There's 200 units.
Yeah.
There's going to be a hotel with 100 units and a medical or bank facility there. That our pump station is located right there. Maximum through that pump station is around 13 MGD, and we've hit it over several times. So that's the excessive issue comes up. We'll talk about that over in the executive session in a while about the details. That's 4.2. 4.3, Meriden connection. I've been working with, finally got approval from the town council for a $150,000 bid waiver to Haley Ward so that we can, the state's been dragging its feet. We want a DWSRF loan, which is a 2% loan for 20 years. We've already had one, and we wanted another one so that we could expand from our southern location from along the Berlin Turnpike to Meriden. It's about 2,400 linear feet. It would cost about $1.6 million. The purpose for this is twofold. One is to have the resiliency of having another connection with another utility. But it's essential when we found out back in 2015, 2016, when we painted the exterior of our lamentation tank, that when we draw that tank down, we run into pressure problems. So the only way to repair the corrosion within the tank is to drain the tank, and we would need another connection. Therefore, the Meriden connection would be useful. We would purchase water from Meriden. It would probably take 2 to 3 months for the interior corrosion to be mitigated. And basically, after that, Meriden had indicated that they would potentially purchase water from us. So it's an additional advantage to us in the long run. So anyway, the bottom line on that is the town council approved the $150,000 bid waiver, and the Board of Finance did as well, too. That was 2 weeks after. 4.4.
So we're switching back and forth. One was sewer, with the overage, now it's water. Now it's going back.
That's potable water. I'm sorry.
How much was that bid for to complete that line?
Well, it's estimated about 1.6 million.
1.6.
We will be looking for a loan. The state basically on the DWS have been delayed. There's another, and I don't want to go into the details, but there's what they call a DCI, Disadvantaged Community Index. The index is important because what they're trying to do is trying to level the playing field for giving money out to various entities. So, and then they're using that index now. And then basically, that's a whole new process that they've entered into. I wasn't very familiar with it, and they've had some delays with that whole process. Anyway, council agenda item for the district study. Now, last year, and Haley Ward, which is the engineer, and Reftilis, which was the subcontractor. Reftilis is a company that basically does financial analysis of utilities, and had worked together and made a proposal. What we wanted to do is have a feasibility study of the 3 entities, Worthington, Kensington, and Berlin Water Control, see specifically what outstanding infrastructure issues and concerns are for each of the utilities, in case any of these utilities, being the other 2, decide to go out of business. What kind of infrastructure costs are we looking at? That's the whole idea. It's because you 2 gentlemen aren't familiar with it, but the water control was actually created because the East Berlin Fire District went defunct. So the town stepped in, took up the system, and that's where our Achilles heel is, because that's the oldest part of the system. It requires additional work, and somewhere down the road, we're going to have to spend more money and more time there. So originally, it was Kensington was served Worthington, Worthington served East Berlin, and then when East Berlin went defunct in 1966, Berlin Water Control was created. And as it created and then took over that system and actually put in a sewer system there, but the water system was older, and some of it was replaced, but a lot of it has not been place. It's going to be one of our areas that we spend a lot of extra money. Anyway, so the town considered the fact that we need to evaluate this. Back in 1996, there was a proposal with Fuss and O'Neill, who did a study, and then at this time of the study, we got pulled. The town council, for some unexplicable reason, pulled the report before it was finalized, and didn't think it was a substantial enough indication that there was differences in the systems to show that there was some kind of savings, which is odd because one of the conditions of the report that Fuss and O'Neill did is that it never included the sewer work. So they were only looking at primarily water rates. And water rates at the time were, for the other two districts, were extremely low because they had mill rates. So when you look at the mill rates with the water rates, the water rates were always far less than Berlin Water Control because we don't have a mill rate. We actually have people pay for what they get, not the value of their house. So that whole issue got pulled last minute. So the idea here is to resurrect this process and come up with a proposal for a study. So as I mentioned, Haley Ward and Phyllis would do that. So their original bid last year was $122,000. This year they modified it. I just got the modification last couple of days. 5%, which I didn't think was too bad, roughly another $6,000. And they were also looking for another $6,000 for potentially some additional flow analysis that they would do. So it would be about $134,600. So the point of it is, you two gentlemen, the rationale is that the board several times before has indicated that they strongly would want the town to pay for the feasibility study, not the Berlin Water Control. Not take it out of our budget, but take it out of the town budget. So I've had discussions with Arosha, the town manager, and also Kevin Delaney, the town fiscal officer, the director of finance. Basically, it indicated that there may be some surplus money in June, so that June money might be an opportunity for us to get the money. But the consensus has been here that the town should pay for that project. And just as an aside, we think that the infrastructure that the two systems, Worthington and Kensington, are extensive. We have our own 10-year plan, which we have a lot of projects to go forward with too, but they don't particularly have a strong plan in place. But they have had years of issues where they put off water improvements and sewer improvements, and we think that number is going to be quite large. And if either one of them decides to close up shop, it's the town that's going to be picking up the tab. That's the other part of the problem. So
And part of 4.2, where it's excessive flows, where we're getting a note from Metabas, some of that is Kensington and Worthington's contributable towards it.
We'll talk
But
about
we
it
don't
in a
have
second.
to.
yeah, that's
We'll talk about that later.
That's another issue. So anyway, so that's where we are with that. So somewhere along the line, next Tuesday is the next town council meeting. I think it's too premature to put us on the agenda, but I would suggest that what the next Tuesday, the 7th, the 14th, on the 21st, we might want to put ourselves on the agenda for the town council and to have a discussion on that and see if we can get some financing to do that. And collectively, I don't know if, how you feel about it. I'm just offering it as a suggestion. Sure. Al, any comments? Al?
Nope, no comments. No comments.
I'll move on to 4.5. Mattabesset District, I just did that last week. Mattabesset District invoice, that's another thing that's grown substantially. Basically, it's roughly $2.7 million we owe Mattabesset District. So every year I go back in, figure out what the cost is for the Mattabesset District, and then the other two entities are repaying deep loans. We had two deep loans. We had a Webster Square. We have a relining project that was done in the year 2012, and then another relining project that was done for Belcher Brook in 2016. So they both have portions that they have to repay for the loans. Strictly speaking, that's for the loans, and then the rest of the portion is a apportionment of the Mattabesset bill. And we also charge them a small percentage of the use of the pump station on the Berlin Turnpike, which to me is peanuts, relatively speaking. It's a small contribution.
The bill difference from last year, this year is $159,000.
Actually, I think it's a little bit more than that, right? So it's 300,000. So it went up 16%.
Oh, I was told it was 12.
I think it's 16. I have to double check it.
That's in 1 year.
Yeah, it's
1 year.
pretty, but the only
Pretty
one,
impressive.
what, Mattabesset is the district that includes New Britain, Berlin, Cromwell, and recently, last within 2 years, Middletown.
A little bit of Rock Hill.
And we'll get into that.
Well, MDC provides the other portion from Rocky Hill and Newington. Okay, Cromwell District. We begin purchasing water down on 372, right by Apple Rehab, right by the on the other side of the yeah, on the other side of the bridge, but also across the street from what do you call it, Walmart. So May 23rd, we started purchasing water from them. They're also looking at another connection. So you know where Division Street is actually the street that separates Berlin from Middletown along that corridor. Well, there's one street, and on the north side of that street are customers. On the south side of the street, there is nothing. It's just Middletown. They're going to be coming across, or actually underneath the Mattabesset River, and make a connection on the backside of Walmart for their water line. The whole idea here is that potentially Cromwell has a lot of water. They have a huge well field off the Connecticut River. They probably about 10 million gallons safe yield. They only use about 2.5 million gallons. So they have a lot of water to sell. So they're looking at selling additional water potentially to us as well as to Middletown. So in that corridor there, somewhere in that southern quarter for us, we're looking at potentially having a meter station where we can purchase more water from Cromwell if necessary, or Middletown. And we also have a line going into Middletown. It's our line going into Middletown. So potentially we could, between the three utilities, there could be some water sharing. Again, from a resiliency point of view, it's great to have another connection. Okay, going back to the Mattabesset invoice, as I mentioned, it's 2.7. Kensington's bill was roughly 1.3 million. Worthington's about 413,000, and Berlin is 1.1 million. Now, one of the other things that's been happening is when I first came on board back in 2013, we had about 2,200 customers. We have about 2,900 customers right now, and potentially we have almost 400, roughly 400 to 500 additional customers pending within the next couple of years that we're going to be adding on to. So we'll be actually the largest utility in between the three systems. Currently, Kensington is the largest with 3,300 customers. Cromwell, let's see if I do. Lead and copper testing. Now, the state requirements, the Connecticut Public Health Department oversees the potable water supply portion of this. And basically, lead and copper sampling is required every 3 years. So last time it was done, it was 2021. So we're doing it again in June of this year. June 10th is the sample collection date, roughly. So we're coming up with a list. What I usually do is I'm required minimally to have 20. I usually do something around 29 or so, because there's some people who drop out last minute or don't collect it or for whatever reasons. So basically, I want to make sure that we have at least a minimum 20 that we have. So that'll be tested. Our laboratory is the Northeast Laboratories. It used to be located in the town, and now it's located over in Rocky Hill. We continue to use that. The other last item on the new agenda is the new business is the town manager retiring. His last day supposedly is July 26th of this year. He's decided to retire at that point in time. Okay, any questions with any of the new business?
I do have a couple comments
Sure.
about some different things, but I think it would be best that it be done in executive
Oh, okay,
session
sure,
where no one's taking notes.
right. And
Okay.
we're not recording at the same time.
All right.
That would be appropriate. Okay, so I'll go right on to old business, the Deming Road Pump Station. Now, for you two gentlemen, basic thing. We also, which is an oddity, we actually pump sewer from Newington, right, at the area right over by Sam's in that whole section, Payne Road, whatever, and Rocky Hill over by Deming, the other side of Deming Road, 160. And Littlebrook, there's a little section that comes down. Rocky Hill and Newington probably have collectively about 1,200 customers. We only have about 100 customers, so we're always arguing with MDC how much they should be paying for. So that particular facility was an older one that required some major reconstruction, is in the floodplain and needed to be raised somewhat. So it was completely being rebuilt. Nickerson's doing the work, actually. I can't say enough about that company. Excellent company. Yeah, and from everything I've heard, that they've done well. And anyway, that whole facility is one. The interesting issue is the last invoice we sent to MDC was in 1986. We never asked for money until later on in 2019, when I sent them a bill for $1 million. Well, obviously, they didn't talk to me for a whole year. They basically, later on, they came back and then we negotiated. And unfortunately, I tried to do with my best to try to get some kind of compensation for it. They gave us 10 years worth of payments. No, 10 total years.
They give us that much.
Yeah, they gave us 10. So it came out to be almost 300, a little over 340,000, I think, dollars. They came over and gave us a check for that. So now collectively, they've been giving us anywhere from $34,000 to $40,000 a year payment for the services.
What's their percentage at now?
They out of a $3.2 million facility, we decided to go 70%, which, you know, it was difficult to negotiate with them, but we think it should be closer to 85%. But after a while, you know, rather than getting stuck in legal issues or whatever, we thought it was best to go ahead and accept the 70%, which is still pretty good, because originally when I came on board, we thought we were going to do it alone for $1.5 million. And of course, the cost of doing the service was astronomical, but after the COVID, because as you can appreciate, you probably more so than anybody, getting materials and supply chain issues were, I mean, real problematic. Getting a generator was like a year. It took almost a whole year to get a generator back. So anyway, so they're under construction, and then if you ever go by Deming Road, off of Selton Street, at the bottom of Selton Street, there's a construction on the opposite side. That's where the new station's going in. This was an important one for us because this one presented probably the most, in my mind's eye, most concern from a health perspective, because the guys had to go down almost 30 feet down into the pit, and in the pit, the three pumps were skewed. They weren't directly over the opening of the pit. They were skewed off to the side, and they were going down 10, 12 times a month, going down into the pit. And of course, it's a confined space. You're always worried about confined spaces. They actually have to pull the pumps, clean them out, and then put them back in again. And that's a lot of work and a lot of time. So, so it's nice that this will be all brand new and hopefully be work satisfactorily. But anyway, yeah, hopefully they're working really well. I'm almost sure it's going to be done by the end of the summer, but they're talking about October. But I think October is probably, that if weather is okay and everything else, I think they'll have it done probably by midsummer. Anyway, October is what they're shooting for.
But they raised that probably 15 feet in the air just to get it out of the floodplain.
Yeah, it'll be, at least that'll be one nice element of it too.
The road and everything.
Okay, 5.2.
Yeah, check it out.
Going back to the study, you'll maybe appreciate what we're up against. When we addressed both of the Kensington and Worthington people, first, they didn't want to participate in the study. Second, they didn't want to obviously pay for any portion of the study. And so that was an issue. So we ended up having our town council, our town attorney, submit FOI requests for both Worthington and Kensington to get some information. So we were able to glean, we think, enough information so that the consultant Haley Ward and Riff Tillis has enough financial elements, financial information to do a fairly decent assessment. One of the key elements in there is that they were obligated to do a water supply plan. Water supply plan is a requirement by the Department of Public Health, and it outlines a great deal of information. And one of the big pieces of information is they had indicated a lot of their water lines need to be upgraded, and we think that that hasn't occurred. So we think that there's some substantial.
Could you give them an idea of when they were reported they should have been replaced?
Yeah, that was, the preliminary report was in 1987. It said that they were 40 years behind upgrading.
At that time.
So add another, 40 years or 38 years?
That's where we're at.
So we're in this 75-year period. So a lot of these that were reported that should have been replaced or repaired or relined were supposed to be done, we think haven't been done. But again, that'll all come to bearing when we do the study. And then that's water. Now sewer as well. Recently they've done, both of them have done I&I studies. Worthington did not share that with us. Kensington shared it with us sort of backwards. I got a copy from the Deep, and then later on they gave me a copy, but I already had it 2 years ago, so I already looked at it carefully. They have substantial I&I problems, so it's one of the issues that we were concerned with. We can talk about that in the executive session. But anyway, the point being on the freedom of information, we had to, the attorney originally sent the request November 10th of November. We finally got most of the reply back in April.
Did you get that from Kensington Attorney Penter?
Yeah, and it took a long time because they kept telling us that they had the information, but they wouldn't supply the information. So we finally got to the point where, give it to us in raw form, whatever form you have it. And so they gave us some, and a lot of, I say that, but junk information too went along with it, but then you have to separate that out. Anyway, so I think based on what the attorney says, true, at this point in time, it's not worth going to the Freedom of Information Commission and saying, we haven't got a complete what do you call it, list of information. But we've got enough, I think, to make a substantial evaluation. Not us, but the consultant. And I had the consultant come in and take a look at it. He thinks pretty much he could do a pretty good job with that information that he has. And I've also included, because it was essential, because of the fact that so much little has been done, I included reports going from CDM back into 1996, Hayden and Wegman, which is no longer in business, but their reports in there. So other reports where they had indicated either water or sewer issues, so that we could have a base, so we could see that, how much has actually changed or not changed. Okay, so
Jim just got on.
oh, Jim, okay.
Horrible.
And we're getting ready to go into executive session. So I'll be stopping the recording, but you guys can still listen, but. we'll be
Okay,
exec-
Al and Jim, we're going to go into executive session now, but since no one else is online, we just won't have it recorded, okay? So,
I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Second. Anybody?
And it's 7:30.
7:30.
7:30, Nick, second.
Okay, so stop this recording and just pause.